So ChatGPT just announced their first ever device and it's taken the entire tech world by storm. Matter of fact, every single AI company is looking at this latest launch, and I guess all the major companies, even like Apple, are looking at what the frickin' world is this? Because one crazy thing is happening right now. These AI companies, which used to only be tech, are now getting into hardware with the first ever wallet now coming out. But as we can see over on Twitter, over on X is what we call it nowadays, it's basically just a very small keyboard with a couple of your most important buttons that actually sits at a pretty crazy $230 price point, which is actually really expensive for such a useless looking type of keyboard. And that's probably also why the comments were really kind of laughing at the device at the start, but later on the account that's basically the provider for this tool said that it already got completely sold out. And of course that does make sense. A lot of people love ChatGPT, a lot of people love Codex, a lot of people just love all the new things when it comes to AI. And since it's not in the thousands price point, whereas new RAM, new computers are definitely in the high thousands of the last couple of months, a couple $100 for the newest device coming out. As a matter of fact, kind of the major first new device coming out in the world of AI, it just makes sense for everybody to instantly order it. Now, there was actually a lot of hype of the first new device coming out by OpenAI and what exactly was going to be, with some speculation of it being more of a speaker that was primarily designed by somebody at Apple before, because as you can read right here, OpenAI's first hardware device will be a speaker, Bloomberg News reports, as OpenAI's device could open a new line of revenue for the IPO-bound company, as last year it paid $6.5 billion to buy I.O., an AI devices startup from Apple's former design chief Johnny Ive, to develop devices tailored for the generative AI era. The product, which resembles a speaker, is still in development and is designed to act as a human-like AI companion within the home, the Bloomberg report said, citing people familiar with the matter. Now, I'm going to give out a little bit of a crazy take here, but I'm going to be honest with you. If we actually do eventually get ourselves, perhaps not even long from now, a home device like this that can see whatever you're doing in your home, maybe you point one at your pantry, for example, maybe you point one at your kitchen, and it's actually telling you what you should be doing, what's happening, and all that stuff. It's basically like a smart camera to some extent. It's kind of like a Black Mirror episode. And even though I'm kind of excited for the functionality, I kind of have the same thing with Elon Musk's Neuralink. Even though for a lot of people and a lot of use cases it's amazing, it also is kind of scary at just how fast things are going and the way in which things are moving. Now, that device on its own sounds really scary and perhaps gets shipped as early as next year. But what's here right now, and basically is really the first thing that we got from OpenAI, is that device, the keyboard that I talked about previously. And here's the breakdown.
You can now take your Codex work to the next level with the Codex Micro, a keyboard built with the team at work louder specifically for Codex. I honestly can't imagine building without it anymore. To show you how it works, I'm going to use GPT 5.6 Soul in Codex to build a little word game and steer the entire process from the Micro. Let's start with voice dictation. I can hold this key and start talking to Codex. Build a browser game called One Letter Off. Players change one letter at a time to turn the word cold to warm, add a 30-second timer, streaks, and satisfying tile animations. The whole prompt appears.
Now, I don't want to be that guy, right? But already started about the one thing I don't like is him saying, I can't even build without it anymore, because from what he's just showcased right here in this process is just a couple of macros. Like it's a dictation button, which, I mean, if you've got Whisperflow and you've got a freaking little, cool mouse, like a Logitech mouse or something like that, you can already bound that key or bind that key, especially if you've got, I use multiples of the same mouse just to have more buttons on different computers. It's kind of funny. So that's not really, something really too special. But what I am thinking of, especially when I used to have like that old Logitech mouse that had like 15 buttons on the side, that's kind of like what they're replacing. Or perhaps it's like these Stream Deck devices where you have a lot of buttons. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what they're doing here.
Without me touching my laptop keyboard. I can configure the analog stick at the top to map to the most common skills that I use, or by default, swipe it up to use plan mode. With the dial, I can control the reasoning effort to quickly switch between a quick task and deeper reasoning without breaking my flow.
Now, I will say, that is kind of useful, right? Just like I said, I've got like all these buttons already on this device theoretically, so it's not as if the device itself is some crazy tech or that unique. However, again, the fact that they've mapped all those things, those convenience things, onto a device that you can literally just have next to all your keyboards, next to all your other devices, it is quite handy. And I'm going to be honest with you, I would also use it too. Why? Well, because it takes away some of the manual binding that you'd have to do because they've done it internally. And sure, it's quite expensive then for this type of device at the multiple $100 price point. This could have been a $40 thing. I mean, AI is not cheap.
To the game, I'm having Codex work on a couple of other things in my pinned tasks. Each of the tasks maps to a key on the micro, and I can click them to quickly switch between tasks. I can quickly see what's running and what needs my attention at a glance. And if the app is in the background, I can double tap to see what needs my attention. When Codex asks for permission to run something, I can switch over and press accept. And I can also quickly switch back and hold voice again to queue up another task by asking, make the win state punchier and add a streak counter. It makes jumping between tasks so much easier than ever before. And by the way, the analog stick is a great fidget toy while you're waiting for Codex to complete a task. And there it is. The game is live, all from the micro. All of the controls on the Codex Micro are customizable, so I can map them to the Codex actions that I use the most. Whether it's common skills, creating a pull request, or even triggering my pet. That's the Codex Micro. Get yours on openai.com/supply.
Did you say triggering his pet? All right, well, whatever. But the long story short here is that this device is probably going to be bought by every single almost every single person that uses Codex like a maniac, unless they've already got a pretty good mouse or a pretty good keyboard. Like, this is one of those things that mostly people in the middle of the spectrum are going to be buying, including kind of me, because it's just kind of funny to be able to do things with a specific device for it. But really, is it that useful? Is it the groundbreaking tech that everybody's been talking about? Is it really that good? No. But it does bring up an interesting point of all the new things that OpenAI is doing and all the new things that could be coming out at least over the next couple of months and next couple of years. Just like right now, that speaker, it's interesting, but it's not a modest thing. It's an absolutely massive deal. And even though this is like the first of the AI devices that we've seen, I think this is going to be coming quite fast. But here's a kicker. And this is one thing I really wanted to kind of hammer down upon here. One of the scariest things which I'm seeing right now with these devices, especially because of some of the most recent news that came out. Remember what I said at the start of the video, right? That if this device, the speaker thing, is in your house, that's kind of sus. It's kind of suspicious, kind of scary, because it's monitoring everything that you're doing. I kind of don't like that. But that kind of is neglectable if this was an independent company that you could kind of prove through some strange method has no ties to doing sketchy things with your info. And the reason that can never happen anymore is because of some of the most recent offers that OpenAI made. OpenAI offered Washington a stake. What they did do well, they proposed a 5% ownership for the government. A stake for the government. OpenAI reportedly is discussing handing the U.S. government a roughly 5% stake in the company. Reporting puts that nearly at $43 billion, and the talks are described as early. The read is that OpenAI wants to cool the political heat as scrutiny on AI firms rises in Washington. And we also just now saw the first political donation by the Anthropic CEO, and a couple of other Anthropic employees also donated $2 million, in total $3 million by Anthropic, to basically stop the development of AI going so fast, so to kind of halt it down. However, what brings this to light is now AI companies are starting to really lobby, or AI companies are starting to like kind of bribe their way, not literally, but kind of buy their way into government connections and to be able to work things out faster than others. But that also means that every single device now, and especially with more KYC checks from these AI companies, that the more the government is involved, the more they know about you, which of course could be a bit sketchy. Again, I'm all for Anthropic, I'm all for OpenAI moving on, and I love them to the death because the tech they've built is amazing. But the surveillance area, the surveillance part, is getting scarier and scarier as we go. Anyway, I also should state, this whole debacle of the speaker, I've been reading a lot over the past 2 days or so, and many are saying that it's not actually even true. It's coming out from a Bloomberg report, and it's not actually like an official OpenAI launch, but Bloomberg is pretty trusted, especially because Reuters, whatever, is also posting about it just now. Also, at the same time, there was a lot of scrutiny between OpenAI and Apple. Hey, maybe something bigger is going on, as Apple filed a suit this month accusing OpenAI of taking hardware trade secrets through former employees. The fight could shape the timeline for when this device, if ever, would actually launch. And even though the 5% government stake is in discussion, it's not signed. It's not as if this is officially a done deal. It's not as if they've actually sold their soul. Or even if they do sell the 5% stake, then it would actually turn into something bad. I mean, just because the government is involved doesn't mean automatically that every single piece you do is automatically sent to them. It just means, in my opinion, that the more control they've got in the entire process, the less kind of like safe you feel in whatever you write, whatever you discuss, and the less nice I'd feel about having one of those devices. But a big counter would also be, I'm not one of those theorists that says government involvement is always bad, because the one nice thing from having the government involved is they can't do that shady of a thing with your info anymore. Sure, the government, US government, can do kind of weird things, mostly surveil you. The nice thing is, if OpenAI is doing really sketchy things to your data, most likely that would kind of get scrutinized by the government because they're looking over everything and there are guidelines involved. Now, a question could be, how strong do they hold those guidelines? I'm not sure about that. And won't the government do even sketchier things than OpenAI could? I can't comment on that. All I'm saying is this is a good and bad thing, because obviously the growth curve is nice because they're not going to block OpenAI as much if they had a big equity in it, and because they'd always be involved in the process because, well, they have equity in it. But of course, it would mean the government is involved in every single prompt that you type, which would be kind of suspicious. But yeah, that's the news that's going on right now. 2 new devices, one confirmed officially by OpenAI, one rumored. Both could be really interesting. One because I just instantly buy it, and the other because who would buy it? But on the opposite side, if everybody else has it and you don't, their life's going to be so much more efficient, which is the strangest thing about AI. If you're not using it, you're so left behind. And if you are, you're setting yourself up for mass surveillance because it knows a lot about you. But hey, at the end of the day, I can't live without AI anymore because it's just so efficient. It makes your life so freaking easy, which is the funniest thing. But anyway, these are the 2 things going on right now. Make sure you press that like button if you enjoyed it. Make sure you join our school if you want a little course on AI for absolutely free. And that's about it.